Hour. Here's a look at the tropics. We have Tropical Storm Jerry, Tropical Storm Karen, that's new, and then a wave coming off the coast of Africa. We've been talking about that for a few days. This is likely to develop a 90% chance, but most of the models take this into the Atlantic eventually. So it'll come west and then start to turn to the north. So we're not really concerned about that. And both of these storms are not a concern for Florida either. There's Jerry right there. You can see it moving to the north and eventually off to the northeast. Bermuda will be watching that very closely. Likely stays a tropical storm. And then here's Karen, again, staying just below hurricane strength at this point by Friday.